ladies and gentlemen. My name is Val, and I'm here with my very first YouTube video. Today I'll be talking about the comic Home, and oh boy, is it gonna be a ride. So, get some snacks, maybe a glass of Coke, and enjoy the ride. So, what is Home exactly? I'm very glad you asked. Home is a semi-realistic story about say teen dogs and their misadventures. As I speak, the comic has about 450 pages, which are being posted twice a week. There is some mature themes in the comic as well as a cool plot and a wide variety of different characters with interesting personalities. Or I wish I could say that about this train wreck of a comic. Seriously, mate, this thing should be a prime example on how to not write a good story. Everything that can be done wrong here is done wrong. Bad tropes are used, characters have hideous designs, no brain apparently, more on that later. There are no facial expressions used, and despite there being over 450 pages, there is no plot. No man, I'm serious. I'm really serious. There is no plot. Over 450 pages and nothing is happening. This should already speak volumes. Anyway, why is this comic so bad, you asked? Well, let me divide my critique in a few parts and summarize it for you. Let's bring some order into this, shall we? Let's divide it into certain parts and talk about them separately. I'd like to have this consistency for possible future videos too. As a good DeviantArt dweller, I have many opinions on many comics, stories, and fan bases, and since this is the wonderful year of 2019, everyone has to know and accept my opinion, otherwise you'll be called sexist and die in a dark dungeon. Anyway, the three main points I'll be reviewing are the art, the characters, the plot. Then I'd like to give my own opinion on what was done wrong, what was done right, and an overall conclusion. I can sense this video will be long, so let's jump right into it. Now, even though this is a comic critique slash review, let me give you some background on the author first. With future videos, I'd like to evade this topic, since even though the creator usually puts a lot of themselves in their work, they are not what is portrayed in the comic, nor do they always agree with any of it. AKA, a comic with homophobic characters does not mean the author is homophobic. It's just a part of the story they're writing. And I just generally feel like dragging the author into the critique is not a good idea, since my personal opinion on them, being good or bad, could stain the critique I'd give and it could turn towards the wrong direction. But this time I'll make an exception because oh boy, is this guy just full of shit. We are talking about an absolute man-child here. This guy took it to the absolute highest. It's highest of the highest level here. There is no higher than kick you level. Higher than the sky, higher than Snoop Dogg, higher than Logan Paul's ego. That's how high it is. The sheer amount of pettiness this guy is full of prevents him from accepting even the smallest amount of criticism. So I'm sure he really loved this video. For an example, you could write an essay on him, praising him for his amazing character designs, the stories he makes, dynamic poses or cool world building, and so on. The essay could be 100 pages long, but God himself protect you if there is but one sentence that contains the smallest amount of criticism. You'll be blocked before you can even say, "What the fuck?" It doesn't even have to be that much. You can just say the heights of certain characters changed, or that the light source is strangely placed in one panel. He does not care. How dare you say anything against this perfect comic? You'll be banned and your comments hidden. But hey, at least you get points for trying. I am proud of me, my child. Let's also point out that this dude is a goddamn tracer. Google Images are his favorite hunting grounds, and also in order to shit out at least 2 pages a week, he reuses poses a lot. And boy, do I mean a lot. A lot. Sometimes reusing poses can be acceptable, either for comical purposes, a little bit of tension, or the character is just standing there throughout the scene. They can be sleeping, they can be dead, they can just be a background character. Yes, a little bit is fine. A little bit. I sincerely doubt that there is a page that doesn't have a reused pose at this point. Since this audience is a group of butt kissers that will never question him in the slightest, otherwise they'll be banned. He doesn't even try to hide his tracing nor the pose reusing. Like, come on, man. Are you even trying at this point? More on that a bit later. And last but not least, this guy is, well, how to say it gently, a giant fucking creep! Admiring his villain,
You what?
who is a murderer, a manipulator, and a rapist, saying he'd love to be his friend, drawing him in sexy poses like he's some suburban hoe, and even going so far that saying bringing him to a gay bar will solve every problem? Don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with liking the villain. You can like them for their dynamics, their backstory, personality, the way they interact with their surroundings, their relationships, their thinking process, analyzing, and so much more. A good villain can turn out to be an interesting character, but you should not, at any point in your life, even remotely think that someone like Granak could be portrayed as a yes queen, or a quirky gay dude, or whatever, or it's just some poor precious bab that is misunderstood, especially someone like him, you know? The manipulator, the murderer, the goddamn rapist? The fact that he's trying to trivialize his actions by drawing him in these pin-up poses is just so sickening. He is a monster, and he should be portrayed as a monster. His Discord is a hellhole of itself, minus the Rana glorifying rape roleplay and people showing interest in bestiality. There was once a discussion on the color and the shape of dog penises in the home universe. I just feel sick saying that. And I honestly don't want to know what else is going on in there, or what's going on in these people's private chats and their sick minds. It seriously just makes me want to throw up. That'll roughly wrap it up for what I wanted to say about this guy. Again, I will not include the author part in future videos, but I really felt like I had to do it with this little prick, since he should not be anyone's role model, and the more people know about this shit, the better. Spread the awareness, my dudes. Now, let's finally get to the comic part, shall we? First on the list, we have the R's. Oh boy, at first, we have this cool looking semi-realistic canine art with nice looking backgrounds, creative ideas, the armor design, the paint, the animals, the beasts, nice landscapes, and so on. On the second peek, however, you start to realize how cheap and bland everything gets after a while. Despite the fact Kiki drew about 1,000 pages, he hardly ever improves on anything. The sad fact is, he's actually getting worse. The two big factors in this is either A, he reuses and traces so much his own art skills are fading away, or B, this guy can't, for the love of God, accept an ounce of criticism. He's like the only son of the comic community at this point. In his previous comic, Asmunder, and at the start of Home as well, the characters seem to at least show some facial structure. Well, maybe except Romer, who from the start of this has these ghastly cheekbones. Mother of God, for someone who crowned himself the king of doggy anatomy, you sure don't know how it works, do you? As I said before, at the beginning of this mess, characters at least seem to have some facial structure, you know, like a dog. But as of the latest pages, their faces just have this vague hexagonal shape with a tube attached to it as their snout. Not to mention it often looks mangled, twisted, or like it's broken on at least 20 different places. And that is pretty bad, considering the fact that most of this comic's content is just dogheads talking. Since we are already talking about faces, let's address the facial expressions. There is exactly 3, them being 1. Soulless stare, 2. Mildly confused, 3. Creepy smile. And That's it, folks. That's it. All of the 400 pages, all of the comic. There's just this, the three expressions. You can go home now. Oh God. There is only so much you can do with the semi-realistic style Kiku has when drawing a dog, and I'll give him that. Dogs are not humans, and it can be difficult to express their emotions sometimes. But let's also point out that these dogs smile, frown, cry, and make the fuck me daddy face. So any of your arguments saying, "Oh, my style is just too realistic for this," are becoming a teeny bit invalid. A dog does not cry. A dog does not frown. You can say that a dog can smile, but I'm sorry, there is no way any dog on this planet can have a grin this creepy. Just no. Since dogs use their bodies rather than faces to express their emotions, it can be hard at times. I understand. On the other hand, why not use exactly that? Their bodies. Use their ears, tails, body postures, lips, and so on. When drawing an anxious dog, why not show the white in their eyes, that they're licking their nose? The scared dog tucks their tail behind their legs and gets into a defensive posture. A happy dog wags their tail and jumps around. Why not do that? You can get so creative with all of this, and don't get me wrong, he does use some of this stuff. But the fact he'll rather replace a frowning dog or a dog with a creepy grin than use a realistic, dog body language, that's a bit sad and very repetitive. The last bit I'd like to say about the dog anime is well, this guy really likes to draw dicks on his male dogs, but not any nipples on females, even those who are pregnant or recently had puppies. They're just non existent. QQ claims he won't censor dog anatomy since this is a mature content comic, but what he truly means is that he's just gonna be drawing doggy dick from every possible angle. And I mean every angle. Seriously, every angle. Even though you should not be able to see it, it's there. All must bow to the mighty doggy dick. The author also likes to believe that his character designs are creative and unique, and let me tell you, they aren't. It's just horrible. The color spectrum is all over the place. They are overdone. The genetics seem not to work. And also he believes that the more nonsensical markings a character has, the better. Just look at these two, okay? Cargo here has an overall balanced design. Not too saturated color, everything is nicely blended with the brown and black theme, but then we have these dots under his eyes. That's so unnecessary. Same goes for Rovanian, who is just a Canaan recolor, but with even a worse color spectrum, and he has the same thing, plus some strange fork-like markings on his face. And then we get this, 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 and basically all of these. Again, don't get me wrong, he really does have some cool looking characters like Cargo, Farah, or Fjordur. They have nice, simple designs that are not overdone with useless markings or something that should not even been on them. Now let's address the tracing and panel reusing. As I mentioned before, this guy traces and reuses everything. Every pose is recycled, and there is hardly anything new here anymore. As the time went by, he just gave up on character diversity, and now every character is just a roamer with different colors slapped on it. You don't even have to try hard to look. Even as a fan of this comic, I knew many of them were reused, and it just made me sad. Like, are you not even trying to, make your comic unique? Have you just given up? He was called out on it on so many occasions. It was partially the reason why he closed the comment section on his MacGifs and DeviantArt. He claims many poses may look similar because of the number of dogs he drew throughout the comic. Uh, you know, um, I agree some of them might look similar since they can be running or lying down or sitting, but come on, man, there is no way they look this similar. they're just like twins or just a recolored Photoshop picture or something. Dogs are not the only creatures he traces, of course. He'll go for cats, bears, and horses too. Basically, everything in this comic was traced, either off of Google images or videos on YouTube. It's just pathetic and sad. Like, get a grip. Seriously. Let's forget about the characters for now and focus on the world, shall we? Unfortunately, there is not much nice to say either, but the art is still much, 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 much better compared to the rest of the dumpster fire this comic's art is. This guy prefers quantity over quality, and because of that, he solely relies on brushes. Don't get me wrong, brushes can be really helpful and make a scene look more dynamic and real, unless you use nothing but brushes. It gives everything a very cheap look. But believe me, backgrounds he draws are one of the best things about this comic. Like, damn, some of these look really good. Really good. Unfortunately, he has no idea how a character should blend in with their surrounding or how lighting works at times. So we're just left with glum, boring pages of dog heads talking. This comic's art has so much potential, yet it's all wasted because the author will not listen to anyone's ideas but his own. He won't stop while drawing and think about panel dynamics or character postures, the emotions, lighting, anything. All because he's too busy talking about dog schlongs. I had a whole thing prepared about the designs of animals on Adra as well as the armor the dogs wear, but the truth is that most of those were designed by his now former co-writer, and I don't want to give this guy credit for something he does not deserve. Some of these designs look really cool. If you, of course, disregard the fact that these dogs could not even be able to put the armor on, and oh my god, don't even get me started on with the knives these canines use instead of their goddamn teeth. I swear to god, if it's revealed that they also use bows or something, I'm gonna throw myself off of a bridge! I think this is all I wanted to say about the art, and now for the rating. Um, I'll give it a meek 4. Very below average. The poses are either traced or reused, designs are horrible, faces look the same, characters don't blend with their surroundings, and so on. The reason why I give it a 4 and not anything worse is because of the cool landscapes this comic has sometimes. And now for the second part. The characters. Oh my god, where do I even start with this? Jesus. The characters are not good. Believe me, I'm really trying to give constructive criticism here. I really am. Another good thing I noticed about this comic, I try to bring to the spotlight, but there's just so many bad things that overshadow the good ones, and it just makes me look like I want to shit on this. Yes, this is a bad comic, but it doesn't mean everything about it is bad. It's just that there's so many bad things. Let me talk about the characters and maybe you'll understand my frustration. Let's start with the toughest part so I can be done with it. The unholy R Trinity. Romer, Ruggio, Ranak. Um, Actually, now that I think of it, it should be titled Four Hounds of the Apocalypse or something, since Ronya is a trash character too, or maybe I should leave Ranak out and keep it as a trinity? He's not really that bad, except that he is a bland. Oh. Oh no, okay, he belongs there. All of these are very stupid, one-dimensional characters who are Kiki's self-inserts, and he tries to portray them as poor, tortured souls, and oh my god, I'm so sick of it. This is actually one of the reasons why I'm making this video. This will leave me with one functioning brain cell. I can feel it. Let's start with the villain, Ranak, aka Oreo Dog. Ranak is just your generic villain. He's cruel. He's selfish. He's creepy. He is power hungry. That's literally it. There is no more into it, and if he was just that, a generic villain, I wouldn't say a word. The problem I have with this character is mainly how Keek tries to portray him. He's trying to make this guy seem like he's just some misunderstood and poor bab who just needs a gay bar. However, he is giving us nothing that make us root for him in the comic. You can't just see him as an amazingly complicated layered character and then complain about it when people voice their confusion, since you didn't show him have any layers in the comic. In all of the pages, we just see him as a selfish bastard. If you want him to have layers, show that he has them. Give us his backstory, his inner thoughts. Was it abuse that made him this way? Was it his surrounding, his upbringing? Was he betrayed by someone he trusted, or even loved? Or does he just want power? Is it all of these combined? All of these make you root for a villain or understand their actions and why they are the way they are. But we saw none of this in the comic. And don't even try to go at me and say, oh well, we might not even be that far in the story yet. Just be patient. I'm sorry, my friendo, but with almost 500 pages into this comic, this should already have been taken care of, considering how important of a character Ranak is supposed to be. This isn't a misunderstanding. This isn't a hidden mystery. This is just bad writing. If if I'm completely honest with you, I think Keek mentioned Ranak as NPD, and while I don't have evidence of him saying this to back it up, let's just assume he does have the disorder, just for the purpose of this video. If I'm wrong here, please just correct me in the comments. While it does bring some light into Ranak's cruelty and selfishness, and gives him maybe a layer or two, or whatever you want to call it, it still doesn't make him complicated. Yes, it does make us understand why he is the way he is, instead of just labeling him as an evil edgelord, but except for that, it doesn't do anything. Nothing complicated that would relate to his disorder is ever shown, except for Ranak is being an ass to other characters. Also, this seems to be used as a very harmful way of pardoning Ranak of his actions. My dude, let me tell you something. Just because you have a certain disorder doesn't mean you can be a total ass, or worse, pardon such behavior. That's like saying it's okay if I'm mean to others to make myself feel better just because I have low self-esteem. It sure isn't. And it sure as hell isn't okay in Ranak's case either. While Keek tries to give him a change of mind through his regret of killing Ruggio and showing his layers or whatever, it is executed poorly. Instead of writing Ranak, regretting his past actions and showing that he is heartbroken, that he's going through grief and has regrets, he just shoves it under the carpet like many other things. Ranak is shown going mad with grief, that is true, and he does try to get Ruggio resurrected, that is true as well, but after his visit to the spirit that was supposed to bring him back, this whole character arc is just gone. In the other scenes we see him, he's back to his own selfish self. Why even come up with the, oh no, I killed my butt plug part, if you're not gonna do anything with it? It doesn't add anything to the story nor Ranak's character either. It just makes things more complicated. Let this be a lesson for all of you too. If you want to show a different side of a character just for shits and giggles, or you want to prove to the haters that they are complicated, unless you know what you're doing, don't do it. Something like killing the one you love should destroy you, yet Ranak hardly shows anything. And of course, sure, you can go at me and say, oh well, he's just too evil to feel anything after. And yes, I get it, but that just proves my point even further. You don't stop feeling grief just because you're evil and edgy, especially when you mourn someone who you deeply loved, the love of your life. The fact you think Rana can't feel it because he's evil just shows Keek did a very poor job writing this all. After all the time he tried to portray him as someone broken and grieving, people just still see him as a selfish prick. Ranak is also a very stupid individual too. After he was kicked out of his tribe, he swore revenge on them, but then he doesn't try to achieve it. Just take a look here, okay? We have this huge area surrounded by wooden walls, and there is less than 10 dogs guarding it. Why not dig under the fence and ambush them while they're asleep? Why not set it on fire to get through? And then just wait for the night beasts to kill everyone? No. Despite Keek claiming Ranak is clever, I guess not boning Rogiho for a few days gave him a brain tumor. He then goes to summon a beast that doesn't do anything either. Instead of using this clearly dangerous creature to, again, attack the tribe, he just has it roaming around the woods surrounding the tribe's territory and doing absolutely nothing. What also makes me want to puke is the way Geek seems to be attracted to this guy. Must I remind everyone that he is a selfish murderer, manipulator, and a rapist? Not to Geek apparently, and outside of the comic, mainly in the hellhole of the Discord channel, he portrays him as some closeted fabulous gay dude, drawing him in pin-up poses and claiming that all he needs is a gay bar. That Karga would bone him? Oh yeah, my dude. I'm sure he would get together with his abuser. What the fuck is wrong with you? His now former co-writer messaged him about his problematic portrayal of Ranak, and and guess what happened? Well, since he offered some good old criticism and suggestions, he was instantly blocked. It doesn't matter, his co-writer did half the job in Home, designed characters, armor, animals, tribe paint, wrote entire scenes and reviewed dialogue. He offered criticism, he was banned. That is the rule here. Kiku, man, I gotta talk to you. Before I go into it, I want you to know that I'm coming to you as a friend who desperately wants to help you from digging yourself deeper into this hole. This isn't any kind of attack, so please hear me out. I'll be honest, there's a lot I could go on about, but I'll stick to what prompted this message. The sketch of Ranak you posted on DA is one of the many instances of a problematic portrayal of Ranak, and I know I'm not the first one to point it out. Ranak is a remorseless, manipulative rapist and a murderer, and in Home he has not been portrayed otherwise. There is not a single redeemable quality about him, and he should be portrayed as such, a monster, even outside of the comic. I understand that you like him. It's okay to like a character as a character, but you continuously give people the impression that somehow he is a lovable, misunderstood person. You trivialize his horrendous actions by portraying him in all these silly, light-hearted situations. This is not appropriate, and it is very concerning to see that you're somehow attracted to his personality. Judging by all the pin-ups, comments you make about him, and the attempts to make him likable through the silly doodles that you do, the recent one, the summary one, so on. However complex you see him in your head, it does not undo his remorseless actions, and he has no chance of redemption. None. To try and redeem him would be the biggest slap in the face to anyone who has been subjected to abuse by people like him. What you are doing by portraying him in this way is sending a message to people that his actions are sexy, or not at all serious, or even likable. Trying to make a rapist likable is a horrible thing to be doing. Your followers look up to you. Don't teach them to see rape as something trivial, and especially not attractive. Rape is one of the worst things you can do to another person. I don't think you realize the kind of message you put into the things you say and draw. This is why I reached out to you the last time when we spoke, so I could at least help you avoid these problematic things in your comic and or in the way you express yourself. I wasn't going to message you again unless you actually chose to seek help from me, but it's gotten to a point where I have to say something. Again, kick you. I just want to help you. Don't shut me out like you do everyone else who tries to say the same thing as me, because the only way for you to be free from these people that criticize you is to understand why you're being criticized and better yourself. And you're writing. I want to help you. There was not a single hint that his former co-writer was attacking him in this message. He was just genuinely trying to help. Everyone can see that, except this very mature man-child. Let's see what his response was. Social justice warriors, man, they ruin everything. No one who enjoyed the sketch I did in Discord thought that I admire this character or that I love him for who he is. No, we laugh at Ranak. I initially drew him with a silly pink hat on. We like him as the villain, not as a redeemable character. No one, including me, believe he's redeemable. I don't need anyone's help. People need to lighten up. I'm not having this discussion. Well, then we see the co-writer try to talk to him about this, but as I mentioned before, he offered criticism, he was blocked. So to sum it up, our dear Oreo dog here is just your generic bad guy McBad. There is nothing layered or complicated about him, and while I do agree that his disorder offers a great opportunity to make him into something greater, it is still just used as a shitty excuse for his bad behavior. He is really just that, a generic villain, and poorly written at best. Also, he is admired by his creep of an author. I honestly can't wait to see him die. Oh, oh, and here's my favorite. Then we have Ruggio, my sweet dear Ruggio, my innocent, selfless baby, poor misunderstood soul. Oh, I love him so much. Can you? Okay, okay. Here, let me show you a short clip that perfectly summarizes my feeling for this wonderful angel. Be gone, thought! I hope you realized I was being sarcastic. Ruggio is a bad character, and even a worse person. Ranak could be at least tolerable during some moments, but Ruggio is just pure cringe material. To sum him up, he's a selfish, backstabbing prick that has the "oh, I'm so sad, feel sorry for me" trope slapped onto him. Again, if he was portrayed as a selfish bastard that he is, I wouldn't say shit. But Ruggio is again portrayed as a troubled, selfless, caring individual who does no harm, no sir. Screw the sex slaves he didn't try to help, screw his friends he ditched to book Ranak, screw the fact he backstabbed his so-called friend by seducing his love interest. We have to love him, because he's got sad eyes. Just to clarify, he comes from a tribe that rapes women and treats them as cattle, and he was in a toxic relationship with Ranak, and he wanted to rule the tribe with him. Again, he was portrayed as the selfish prick that wants to be comfortable in his little bubble. I wouldn't say a thing. I, in fact, do enjoy toxic characters that are written well. But Ruggio is just shoved around as one of the saints of the comic, and despite his toxicity, he's never punished for any of his actions. If he lived in the rape tribe and was the saint he claims him to be, what would he do to gain the purity he's supposed to have? Would he A. Help the sex slaves gain freedom? B. At least try to use his high position in the tribe to convince Ranak or the Jarl to improve the victim's condition? C. Help his friends and the others during the night of the escape? D. All of the above? Or E. Do nothing so he can continue to bone Ranak? Sadly, the only thing Ruggio ever did was E, which is the only wrong answer out of all of the ones I listed, and it doesn't make Ruggio the saint he pretends to be. Ruggio is just a fuckboy and will do everything to get laid, such as when he killed Ranak's father just to stay in his spotlight. Not because he hoped getting rid of such tyrant would help the abused females. No, he just wanted to appeal to his lover. Let that sink in. He killed someone just because he wanted to stay in his lover's spotlight. And then there's a couple other things, like how he wanted to bone Rovanian, or when he followed Romer after a day he broke up so he can fuck him a day later. This isn't a good character trait. Those are the traits of a goddamn sexual predator. Now, Ruggio only turned his back on Ranak because he tried to kill him. Not because Ranak is an ass and he realized that. No. Ranak was mean to him, so he no longer wanted to proceed. While it would be very understandable to leave someone that abuses you in every other situation, this just makes Ruggio look even like a bigger scumbag than he already is. Why does it, you ask? Let me explain then. Ruggio tries to justify his relationship with Ranak and why he stayed by saying he was in love with Ranak's good side, which he only showed around him, that there was something none but him got to see. I'm I'm really sorry, my dude, but that in no way justifies any of that nor anything you've done. Being with someone just because they are nice to you and treat others like other garbage is just so disgustingly selfish, hypocritical, and pure evil. That's like saying dating Hitler is fine because he gives you chocolate and takes you to movies. You know, screw the millions of people that died because of him. I'll stay because he's nice to me. This example might seem a little bit extreme, and I know I mean to trivialize the Holocaust by it or anything similar, but it's the same principle. Ranak is a manipulating killer, and Ruggiero knew that. He knows everything this piece of shit did, but he stayed because Ranak treated him nicely. But the moment Oreodog turns his back on him, Ruggiero is ready to hit the road with the very dogs he dumped because of Ranak. He was mean to him, so only then he broke things off, because there wasn't any benefits for Ruggiero anymore. Leaving a bad person only after they start to treat you badly and not because they are horrible to others. It's just so toxic. How how is this guy one of the protagonists again? And while I think Geek wanted to show him as someone abused who just couldn't see through Renak's shenanigans, or at least I really hope so, it is again written very poorly. Rogio is a victim of a very common trope that is simply put as, "You're broken, so I'll fix you with my love," which is one of the most toxic ones you can find among the lot. While yes, you can have a broken character with a supportive partner that help them through their issues and encourage them to seek help. However, the character is not, and I repeat, not the other character's punching bag nor a therapist. And using this trope like with Rogio here, that love will cure all, is just so toxic. Love will not take away your depression, anxiety, and other illnesses. Just love on its own will not change everyone's world views. Or the worst part of this trope, someone will not stop being evil and or abusive just because you love them. While yes, your love and support can give your partner courage and strength to seek help and improve, it certainly does not erase every problem that there is. Ruggiho could be less of a shit character if he was shown to be abused and beaten down. And as I said before, if Keek really intended to write him as an abuse victim, it is executed very poorly. While it in no way justifies his toxic behavior, it could at least show why. Instead of being a selfish prig he's shown to be in the comic, he could have been portrayed as someone who's so beaten down by Ranak and his father that he's too scared to step up, or he's so brainwashed he basically thinks like his abusers. While all this sounds crazy, abuse can do awful things to you and make you do things that you wouldn't even think you're capable of. It could also add depth to his character as well. He can still be shown to regret his actions or be punished for them, but showing he was abused, and yes, I do have to emphasize the word showing, I'll get to it in a moment, portrays him as such a lesser piece of shit than he is now. Though I think Keek mentions him being abused somewhere on his Patreon, he hasn't showed that in the comic. It's like the Renak situation all over again, meaning something significant to the character dynamic was never shown. You can't claim a character as complicated and layered and get mad at people when they voice their confusion when you haven't shown it in the comic. Except for Renak getting angry at Ruggiero when he wouldn't bone him during the night of Cargo's capture, and Romer claiming he was bound in mental chains, and of course this whole killing sacrifice thing. There are no signs of Ruggiero being even remotely abused. I'm I'm sorry, but this sub story just doesn't work for me. He then has the balls to proceed to talk about how much PTSD he has, how he was bound in mental chains, and so on. The self pity is just disgusting. You got yourself in this shit, and you could have left at any time. Unlike the sex slaves you refused to save, you had an option to walk out of the tribe territory. And since these dogs don't seem to have working noses, Joe and Cargo and Co here just left for South and nobody followed them, also, with the situation with Farah and Cargo and the rebels, you'd be fine. Stop fucking whining, you prick. Your self-inflicted problems are so mediocre compared to so many other characters. I like how the females were being raped for years, sometimes even by their own offsprings or siblings, and they show no PTSD, depression, apathy, nor hatred towards their rapists. But poor Rocky Poo, who was willingly submitting himself to this, apparently because he thought his gross dog kisses will cure his lover, is the one whose mind is fucked. What? He also caused the death of two of his fellow tribe members because he's too much of a coward to step up and face his own problems. An untrained rape victim and a father of an infant puppy died because Ruggio refused to step up as the second in command he is and take advantage of Ranak to save his tribe.
But Ruggio didn't want to use the same mental manipulation Ranak does. Does that not make him a good guy?
No, it fucking doesn't! In a different situation, maybe, but not when multiple deaths can be avoided. Ruggio should have stepped up as a Baron, the second in command he is, and used Ranak's dependency to his advantage. That would show him as the strong, caring, selfless individual Kiku claims him to be, and not a selfish coward he actually is. And then that bitch has the balls to say rude things about the dogs whose deaths he caused at their fucking funeral, and nobody gives him shit for it. Like, why would you even agree to be the second in command if you refuse to do your duty? But what the fuck? It's okay. Calm down while you're just getting winded by a very bad webcomic. It's calm down. It's okay. Whew. Okay, I think I can continue. Ruggio is also a backstabbing little prick. He betrayed his so-called friend Cargo twice so far. The first backstabbing occurred when he refused to join and help him during the rebellion back at the Meteor tribe. With his help, the outbreak could have had a different outcome and many dogs could have been saved from dying. Yet he remained comfortable sitting on his butt plug pedestal. The second backstabbing happened after overhearing Cargo's conversation with Romer. After Romer broke things off with Cargo, he follows his love interest, tells him he wanted to fuck his friend, then about another friend his tribe killed, and then seduces him a few days after his breakup. You, you sick horny fuck. How did these dogs not throw you over the edge of a cliff yet is beyond me. Moving on to somebody who's emotionally confused after a breakup and possibly depressed due to it, or his friend's murder is not fucking okay, and I shouldn't even have to tell you this. And he didn't even try to bring some light into this and defend Cargo, his so-called best friend, like telling Romer that Cargo didn't want to go back to the place all his suffering and trauma happened, that he has PTSD and is possibly horrified of the very thought of going back. But but no, no, none of that happened. They just talk about Ruggio's poor unfortunate backstory with Ranak, about Zillus' death, and then they fuck. Oh, oh, did I also mention that Ruggio knew about Ronya? The same thing Romer broke up with Cargo for. And he doesn't get shit for it, like ever? What the hell is this pole armor? And that's another thing that pisses me off about this character so much, and also why he's the part of the Four Hounds of the Apocalypse. Rogiho never faced any consequences, ever. Here's a few examples, like how he turned his back on Cargo during the rebellion. Roggio was his best friend, and he betrayed him, but somehow Cargo's not even angry at him. You know, the character with anger issues? He doesn't display any mistrust. It's just, it happens, and it's only mentioned once, and then never again. When Ronya comes to the tribe, he doesn't try to help her or get her out or even warn her that she'll probably end up as a puppy popper, and it's never addressed either. You know, Ronya got cheated on behind her back because of Roggio, and she never gives him shit for it, like, ever? If he cares so much about the females, why didn't he try to help her and the others? She's not even angry at him for anything. Or how he was basically Ranak's right hand, even going so far as to killing the tribe's Jarl, and nobody gives him shit for what he's done either? When he returns to the tribe, he's just welcomed by the females he refused to save, and they say they missed him? Or how he refused to act as the second in command he is supposed to be when his cowardice killed Fus and Yona, and nobody ever brings it up? Nobody blames him? A sheltered rape victim and a father of a newborn died because Rogier is a coward. A rape victim, abused for years, still had the courage to step up, contrary to Roggio, who has just had a bad breakup. Like, do I still have to explain why he's a shit character? Why it's so illogical for him to be treated like goddamn dog Jesus? Why is this crap? let's end this here now. I'll just start throwing things. In a conclusion, in a conclusion, Ruggiero is just a selfish, toxic coward that doesn't care about anyone but himself. He backstabs people as he pleases, uses people to get to power, and he wants to plow every tight butthole he can get to. I am so damn fed up with this character and his author just praising him as some sweet, precious cinnamon bun that he fucking isn't. I cringe whenever I see him on a page. Originally, he was supposed to be killed by the spirit Ranak summoned, and he honestly should have died. Like, the comic went so downhill since he survived. Ugh. And then there is Romer, aka Keek, because this character is the worst case of self-insertion I have ever encountered. I mean it. I'm serious. Romer is just Keek in a fursuit. He's also a very good example of something we call Gary Stew, which means that said character doesn't have any real flaws shown. And Keek, let me tell you something. Just because you list his flaws on his wiki profile doesn't mean he truly has them when they aren't shown. Romer is supposed to serve as the true protagonist of this comic, the innocent, pure soul that shines like a sun and brings happiness and love to his friends and family and cares about them immensely. But but this is never shown in the comic. It never happens. In fact, whatever Romer does just makes things worse. It's the same thing we saw with Roggio. Romer isn't a precious angel that gives hope to everyone. Romer is a selfish, immature bastard that only thinks of himself. And here I'll show you why. So let's start with the whole Cargo breakup, okay? As I said before, Romer broke up with Cargo because he held a secret about Runya being with the Meteor tribe. She could have been getting tortured and raped, and Romer simply had enough of his lies. Completely reasonable, right? Nope! There's a whole new side to this that makes Romer look like a hypocrite. Here's why. So, Romer knew about Ronya disappearing, right? He even says before how dangerous the Meteor tribe is, and that there's a possibility she could be with them. He even says that he'll go look for her. But does he? Does he search for his so-called friend? Nope! He goes for a swim. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Our precious, caring hero goes to take a bath and makes out with a stranger instead of looking for a member of his pack. But does he look for her after? Does he look for her when he's within the tribe's border at least? Does he ever mention her? Nope, nope, nope. Romer completely forgot about Aradin Ronya. After days and weeks, he didn't even think of her ever. While this does not pardon Cargo for what he has done, it doesn't pardon Romer either. Romer knew she was missing, and he knew there was a possibility of her being with the tribe, but he did nothing, and he just blames Cargo for everything. The other thing is that Farah and Roggio knew about this as well, but he doesn't give them shit for it like he did with Cargo. In fact, when Roggio admits he knew Ronya was with the tribe, he just let him stay. And this whole thing with Roggio saying that he didn't know how much Ronya meant to Romer? My ass! Ronya constantly talks about him and even asks the tribe to help her find him. That clearly shows he means a lot to her. Could he at least tell him she's looking for him? Are you telling me that in the 20 or so days between the second breakout and Romer's journey to the north, he never mentioned her once? He never said he missed her? Someone who was his friend for years? And he knew she vanished and should be worried about her? Unless Roggio has rotten cheese for a brain, he would have figured out what Ronya meant to Romer. And Romer not mentioning her once just shows he really does not care about his friend, nor a promise he gave to his future pack leader. Romer is, of course, as the complete Gary Stew he is, never punished for his actions, and no character ever gives him shit for his blatant ignorance. After Romer finally finds Runya and joins her tribe, he goes back to see Cargo and Farah to say goodbye. When he arrives, the biggest yet evidence of his toxicity comes to the light. He basically tells his friends he joined the tribe that raped them and abused them, the very tribe they spent their whole lives running away from. He tells him he joined it. Unlike Farah, Cargo's reaction here is very rational and justified, but somehow he's painted to be as the bad guy. I'm sorry, Romer, but someone affectionate will not react like you.
Someone affectionate would understand his friends are upset over the fact that their friend joined the group of dogs that abused them and raped them. Someone affectionate would understand someone is upset over the fact someone he trusted fucked his love interest. But Romer just walks away from them like the little hypocrite he is. And again, he's never punished for his ignorance here. It, it's Cargo actually who is. What? Why? Just as well as he didn't care about Ronya, he doesn't care about his parents either. Yes, he said he'd leave them for a while and explore this world, but when Varanian brings the news of them vanishing, he's not alarmed? He's not worried about them? His friends? His parents? Nope. Romer just said that the humans must have gotten them. How, how stupid are you? There is literally a tribe that murders and rapes strangers. How are you not concerned? After this brief mention of them, he never talks about them ever again. He never voices his concerns, the fear that they might be lost or dead. Roma is just the ignorant asshole. He just doesn't care. Let's also point out all this drama with Romer, Cargo, and Rogio, and why you should never write a comic as it goes and have at least a vague idea of what a plot is. Yes, Keek, I am talking to you. It's really obvious this shit wasn't written since page 1, and here's why. What happened is that Bleach Ass met Cargo. He got drawn to him, they got closer with each new chapter, they made out with him instead of looking for Ronya, and after the second breakout, it seemed like the two would be quite a happy couple. It really seemed like he cared for Cargo. He killed for him, he cried for him, he risked his life for him. Romer even ended up making out with him after Cargo's rape story, so I guess that means he likes him, uh, right? What am I doing with my life? Romer and Cargo were together for roughly a month, okay? It's actually quite hard to say how long exactly because the pacing in this comic is just horrendous. It's horrid. Well, anyway, after a month, Romer breaks up with Cargo over a little secret. Something that was hyped for 6 or so chapters. After all the art, the lovey-dovey moments they share, it's over. With a snap of your fingers, just like that. It's over. After the breakup, Romer goes on a journey to the rape tribe, Ruggiero follows, and we all know how it ended up. After Romer goes to say goodbye, Cargo finds out about Romer fucking Ruggiero and is reasonably upset. But we learned here that Cargo was pushy. How was he pushy? He agreed to soothe his pace, not frighten Romer. He never demanded sex or affection, and on multiple occasions it was actually Romer who initiated the makeouts. Also, while we're at it, Keek even went back to the old pages and edited artwork and dialogue to paint Kago as the pushy one. But when Romer goes and fucks Rogio 2 damned days after their journey starts, it's somehow okay? It was Rogio as well who initiated the sex now, something Cargo was labeled as pushy for. How is he different from him? Romer was with Cargo for a month, yet claimed he was pushy, but but then he fucked Rogio this soon? If this was portrayed as a rebound relationship, then fine. That would at least make a little sense. But it isn't! Instead, Keek claims this would be his ideal relationship. Excuse me? So the relationship between an emotionally confused person with someone who is basically just a manipulating, controlling doggy whore. The very relationship that has no chemistry, no boundaries, and is basically just based on them fucking each other's brains out every night is your ideal relationship? No wonder your girlfriend left you. Romer often serves as the moral high ground as well. Romer says something, so everyone listens to him. Romer decided they'll stay at midnight, mid, mid, uh, Furious Tribe, so they do so. Romer decided Rogio is innocent, so he's innocent. Romer decided Rogio will be a coward, so he's a coward. And just as well as Ruggiero, Romer never earns anything that is served to him on a silver platter. He never deserved to be treated so nicely by Cargo and everyone else around him, because he's never proven to be the amazing dog everyone claims him to be. Romer gets the position of a baron, despite the fact he has no experiences with leadership and knows nothing of this world. This character has no lovable qualities. There's nothing good about him or his actions. him and so many other things went so downhill after the end of chapter 6. Why is he the protagonist? Why is he shoved around like a saint? Why is Keek so adamant as to show him he's pure? He isn't! He's a toxic little brat. It could have been so easy to write him if Keek accepted that he's not some precious babu. Bratty characters are one of the easiest to show character growth with, yet for 500 pages Romer remains the same. And yes, I know you all must be getting tired of me saying that Keek just shoves his toxic characters around as some precious cinnamon buns that they aren't. You must be screaming for proof now. Well, you want it? Here, have it. What I'm about to show you is an opinion of one of Keek's biggest supporters back at the time. This person drew him so much fun art, discussed theories, offered ideas, and even was the highest Patreon pledger for months. They were a paying customer. And Keek just blocked them because they voiced their opinion about his one-dimensional self-insert. Let me repeat. He blocked them because they had an opinion that was different from his. This video is getting quite long already, so instead of me reading these lines like I did with Ranak, I'll just post these screenshots with some amazing elevator music and make a montage. Feel free to pause and enjoy the tea. So, summed up, Romer is about just as toxic as Brugio. He's a selfish little bastard that ruins people's lives, doesn't care about his family or friends, and is overall just a bad case of a Gary stew. Romer and Brugio have a constant battle between each other for the spot of the worst character in the comic. The last member of the Hounds of the Apocalypse is Ronya, who is the only one out of all these that is at least a little lovable. She used to be quite an okay character, and I even sympathized with her at some point. Ronya is a meek, clumsy female dog that bit more than she could chew. She had a crush on Romer and was devastated after he left with Farah and Cargo. As a rebound, she got together with Ranak, they did the do, and before she knew it, she was the center of attention of our favorite tribe, the Meteor tribe. Ronya's character is, fine. It's not good, but it's not bad either. She's just kinda okay. She's not a great leader, but that is expected of someone who was never in charge of anything in their life, ever. Her hesitance is quite realistic, and so is her clumsiness when she's dealing with certain issues within the tribe. Though I have to point out that at one point she decided she will not punish rapists for what they have done, and actually punish the rape victim instead. Her short fling with Vanak is quite realistic, if I might say so. Many people jumped into something they didn't understand with someone they hardly knew and regretted it later. Ronya is a very good example of this. Because of her rebound, she's now the leader of the Meteor tribe, and she's
pregnant?
But you said that it was a bad thing Romer was a baron. Why does the same thing not apply to Ronya too? Because Romer was offered the position. It was served to him on a silver plate, and the idiot took it. In Ronya's case, being the Viscountess was forced onto her after she joined the tribe. Renak manipulated her to come with him and forced her into this role that she didn't want. Ronya decided to keep the position despite the fact that there were others that would be better leaders due to their experience and knowledge about this world. But let's say she kept it in hopes of making the tribe into a better place, and also for the sake of it not falling apart, since the males say that if she left, the females would leave too. So, why exactly is she so bad? I just said she was kind of okay, right? Not too bad, not too good. She's quite sympathetic, a bad leader, but she's experienced, so that's to expect. What's so bad about her that earned her the Four Hounds of the Apocalypse spot? Buddy, I'll tell you. It's how she handles Ranak. That makes her shit. I have no idea how Ranak and Ulfr are a threat to a tribe of 10 that is surrounded by tall walls in the first place. Ronja wasn't a good leader, but the moment she decided to send untrained rape victims out to fight Ranak, she just becomes a pile of shit. She really didn't have to send them out in the first place, but we'll talk about this plot hole a bit later. Despite the fact Ulfre is a disgusting rapist, he's right in this panel. Ronja gives ranks to the females that they didn't earn. According to Farah, it can take years for a dog to be trained and receive its rank, and unless this is another plot hole or the females were trained in a pocket universe that allows time to pass much quicker and give them years of training in mere days, they shouldn't have them. Why is Fremya a warrior? She doesn't have training. And even though someone might have taught her for a bit, she's been training this kid for like 2 weeks. How is she supposed to defend herself against two highly trained males with years of experience? Why is Vandi a herbalist? Herbalists travel to gather herbs. This journey can take months to complete. I I thought she wanted to keep it chill and focus on her kid. As I said, these ranks are undeserved, and the females die because of that. Even the ones with non-offensive ranks, like Alva the babysitter and Yona the paintmaker, are made to fight. Why send them out? Are you this stupid? Do you have rotten cabbages for a brain? How can you send someone that is unexperienced in combat and be surprised they died? Those are basically just civilians that stand against war veterans. Those females are so helpless toward Vanak and his beast, yet Bronya sends them out? She does it twice? You might want to argue that Bronya did this to make the groom seem bigger and more intimidating, but honey, this is not how it works. It is confirmed by these dogs that Vranak used a beast he summoned to kill them. He summoned it. That means it listens to his every thought and every wish. Are are these dogs so stupid as to not figure out that it's not gonna stop no matter what till they're all dead? It doesn't matter if you send out 10 dogs or 100, Bronya. Avanti will still kill them all regardless. And as we saw before, the fact these females weren't able to defend themselves due to the lack of their training caused diversion and chaos in the group that got Foos killed. This this is even more below you than we would expect, Bronya. This is not lack of experience. This is just stupid. If it's Rogyo's fault Foos is dead, then it's your fault Yona is. You're just as guilty of causing unnecessary deaths as much as this coward is. Yona died because of you. And and nobody came to her and talked sense into her. Nobody came and said, "Hey Ronya, our leader, don't you think it's quite stupid to send out these untrained females to fight dogs that are highly skilled in combat and their weird creepy monkey beast?" Nope, nope, nope. And even after they returned, all of them devastated by their friends dying and being injured, nobody blames her for this horrid decision. Nobody says anything. Once again, we have someone who is not held accountable for their bad actions, but are you are you even surprised at this point? I'm certainly not. That would be about it. I'm done. I'm done. Overall, Vornia was an okay character. Reckless and timid, but she did kinda okay. This was all changed, however, with Chapter 8, when she turned out to be brain dead and caused the deaths of Foos and Yona. She also doesn't seem to want to punish little rapists. I was actually considering moving her out of the Four Hounds of the Apocalypse group, but then I remember that she killed 2 dogs with her stupid bullshit and decided against it. She still holds the most lovable spot out of all the trash characters I talked about yet, though. Okay, well, the major part of the character critique is finished, and you know what? Since this video is about an hour long already and I don't want to bore you to death, I have decided to split this video into 2 parts. I really hope you have enjoyed my helpless screams, and I'll see you in the next part when we'll talk about the rest of the characters and the plot. So I'll see you in a bit, and I hope you enjoy this video.